Guys, it's Yuri and today I'm going to be doing the video about my experience at Genesis Maternity Clinic. If you are new here, then welcome, and if you have already subscribed, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for your support. It really means the world to me. Guys, if you are interested in knowing what it's like to give birth at a birth center or a midwife-led hospital, then please continue watching. So quick disclaimer guys, there is going to be a little bit of TMI in this video because I am going to be talking about some of the things that were done during my pregnancy and right up to my birth, so just a heads up for that. And otherwise, let's get into the video. Okay, so first things first guys, when you search Genesis Maternity Clinic on the internet, I'm going to put in a little screen recording over here. And Genesis Maternity Clinic is part of the Life Healthcare Group, but they are a midwife-run birthing unit. So your gynecologist will be on standby in case there are any complications, but other than that, your midwife is going to be the one who's going to deliver your baby. So I cannot explain to you the happy memories and the amazing feeling that I have every time I speak about my birth. I know a lot of people have disappointing stories. Some of them have really scary stories. I know before I gave birth, I was watching a whole ton of YouTube videos about people's birth stories and things like that. But I can honestly say that Genesis played a huge role in my positive birth experience. So basically at Genesis, they say it's your baby, your way. So you basically will speak to your midwife and tell them what you would like to do. You are able to customize your experience, your birthing experience, especially because their rooms give you a more homely feeling. For me, it felt like I was on holiday somewhere, like I was checking into a hotel or something. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be here giving birth, in like tons of pain in the next few hours. That was like furthest from my mind. I was just super excited and I was super calm and relaxed, but it's also the atmosphere and the way that they treat you. So when I first went to Genesis, I was 16 weeks pregnant. I know that they normally take you between 12 and 17 weeks. It just depends. They only take in low risk pregnancies. So from about 6 weeks to 16 weeks, I was seeing a specialist, but that's because I had 2 miscarriages and I just wanted to make sure that with this pregnancy, everything was going to be okay. From there onward, I went to Genesis. I had my first appointment with the in-house midwife. Her name is Denise. She is the most amazing person ever. If I think about it, everybody at Genesis is super kind, super nice. It's almost like when you watch a movie and everything is so amazing, everyone's so nice, it's too good to be true, and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop and something to go wrong. But honestly, nothing ever went wrong. Everything was so amazing, guys. I cannot even describe it. If you are pregnant and you want to have a water birth, I had a water birth. Or if you just want to have a different birth experience than lying in a normal conventional hospital, then this is definitely something to consider. So I am going to talk about the procedures and stuff, but in terms of money, I'm going to be doing a separate video where I'll talk about the cost of giving birth in South Africa if you don't have medical aid, because all of this I paid cash for. My first appointment was with Denise. Like I said, we then discussed the payment, when it's going to be due by, what it covers, anything extra that we might need to keep in aside just in case something goes wrong or anything that's unforeseen. So we went through all of that. We signed paperwork. She opened up a file for us and so at the first appointment, I got a hospital card. In here is just basically your weeks and dates where you need to see your midwife and you need to see the gynae. this is the schedule that I was given so that I know on which weeks I need to see a midwife and which weeks I need to see a gynae, so that I could get in touch with Cecilia, who does the bookings, who could help me. Now, just bear in mind, if you're choosing an independent midwife, so it's not an in-house midwife, they are going to discuss their rates with you separately. So you're going to be working with them and doing your antenatal appointments with them. I'm not too sure where they do it because, like I said, I took the in-house option, and you know what? I wouldn't change it ever, because Denise, she treated me as if like I was her own child, like giving me advice and being so caring and loving and really compassionate, because everyone's pregnancy is different and my pregnancy was horrible. But yeah, she was absolutely amazing. And during that first consultation, she assured me of everything. She explained how things are going to work going forward. We set up all the appointments. I also did receive a little sample bag, and that had a whole lot of different samples from like baby cream, bum cream, washes, and a dummy and things. So everything that they give you is super useful. Going forward, I did do one scan at Genesis because all of my other scans were already done by the specialist. So I had all of those because when I fell pregnant, I knew that I'm going to be paying cash for everything, and I knew that I was going to be going to Genesis. And because I was going to be swapping gynaes and hospitals, I just compiled my own file. And this is just a flip file where I put in all my appointments, all my scans, everything is in order. So that I could take it with me to all of my appointments. So the one scan that I did do at Genesis was with a lady called Marika. She is also super amazing, really professional and friendly. She did the anatomy scan for us. They give you everything that you need, copies of the scans, a checklist just to show that your baby is developed properly. And we, thank God, didn't have any issues. Aiden was well developed, he was healthy, everything was going well. So we were given all of that, and then the next time I saw my midwife, I showed it to her, we discussed everything. And then each appointment thereafter, we spoke about things that were like pertaining to where I was currently in my pregnancy and also leading up to my birth. So I in total saw my midwife about 6 times or so before I gave birth. And then after I gave birth, I saw her a few times as well. And I took obviously Aiden to the appointment, and she would play with him and show me like tips and tricks that I should use as a first time mom and things like that. So yeah, the experience was super amazing. Everyone was really, really helpful. I do remember that when I was about 38 weeks, I had an appointment, and she checked my cervix, and she said to me, okay, you are like 2 centimeters dilated, between 1 and 2, whatever. I think you're going to give birth within the next few days. And my due date was only on the 28th of October, and this was already I think it was the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. So we were like really nervous because obviously it was my first time actually doing this, and a lot of the stories that I heard, made me nervous. Also, I did check on YouTube for videos about Genesis. I did see some positive videos, I did see some very negative videos, but from a personal experience, I didn't find a single thing that was negative. The hospitality in that place is amazing. The cleanliness of everything in that place is amazing. It doesn't even smell like a hospital. It is so beautiful. The customer service that you get there, from everybody, from the person who's mopping the floor to somebody who's bringing you food, to the midwives, it was absolutely amazing. The day that I actually got admitted, I went for my appointment. It was the 19th. So I had my appointment, she checked my cervix, and one thing with the cervix checking, it is an uncomfortable procedure, especially if you have a lot of pain in your pelvis. Now, for the last 4 months of my pregnancy, I had extreme pain in my pelvis. It was, I couldn't sit, I couldn't lie, I couldn't walk. It was just so uncomfortable and so painful. So when it came time for them to check my cervix, it was even worse because his head was sitting so low in my pelvis. But she gave me tips on how to prepare myself mentally and breathing exercises to do before they checked my cervix. And that, you know what, it made it so much easier. I do remember that the day I got admitted, she checked my cervix. She said to me, you know what, you're 4 centimeters dilated. You're going to give birth either tonight or tomorrow. So go home, get your stuff, come here, let's book you into your room so that you can get comfortable and be relaxed and you're not rushing around later on. So I went home, I got everything, I went back to the hospital. I was walking around. I took a walk. It's very close to Zoo Lake, so I took a walk to Zoo Lake. I came back to the hospital. I walked around in the parking lot, and then I went back up to her, and she said to me, "No, I'm definitely having contractions," because I didn't realize that I was having contractions at the time. I thought it was really bad period pain, but those were actually the contractions. And then she basically took me downstairs to our room. The room that we chose, you get 2 options. There's an upstairs room and there's a downstairs room. I chose the downstairs room so that my husband can stay with me. And you basically pay to stay there for 3 days. So he stayed with me in the downstairs room. We checked in. There was already a midwife that was waiting there for us, Sister Kate. She was so kind, and the lights were like dimmed. The room was beautiful. Okay, it was storming that day, but it was beautiful, and it was the perfect weather because I actually love storms. And she booked us into the room. She hooked me up to the monitors and things like that. She checked my cervix just because she has to do that for her own records. And then I guess there was like a shift change, and then the midwife who delivered my son, Dwan, she came in. She checked my cervix and things like that as well. They were still very gentle, really kind, also asking before they do it, not just, doing what they want to. And they were monitoring me and stuff. And I had, if you see from my labor and delivery vlog, I think I'm going to insert a video of the room over here as well. If you see that bathtub, it is massive. And there is so much room in there. When I actually gave birth to my son, at the time when I was pushing, my husband got into the tub with me as well so that I could lean against him. But the tub is amazing. So earlier on in my labor, I was lying in the tub and things like that. And then I came to a point where I wasn't dilating further than 4 centimeters. So I was just stuck on 4 centimeters, and my midwife, Dawn, she actually said to me, go walk up and down the stairs, and mind you, I was also bouncing on my birthing ball, which I had, and that wasn't really working because I didn't realize that I didn't fill it up quite correctly. So she repumped it, and I bounced on it a little bit, and then I went to the stairs. I think I walked up and down the stairs with my husband for about 20 times up and down. And that's when the pain was shooting down my back and I was literally crying. And then I went back to my room, and she's like, you know what, just try and sleep for a little bit. And I managed to sleep for 2 hours, and I woke up and I was 6 centimeters dilated. But then from there, my water wasn't breaking, and I was dilating very slowly. So she asked me if I would like to have my water broken. At that time I was in the water and I didn't really want to get out of the water, because standing up out of that water, the pressure came all the way back onto my stomach and my spine, and it was unbearable. But she was very quick. She checked my cervix, she did the monitoring, she broke my water, she did all of these things. And it was It was extremely painful. Once my water was broken, I was crying. I was saying things that don't even make sense. But she was super understanding, and I kept apologizing, like, I'm so sorry that I'm making noise or anything like that. Especially towards the end when I started to push, because the first few pushes I wasn't in rhythm and I didn't know what I was doing, and so I was making a lot of noise, and then I was like, I am so sorry, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, please don't be sorry. You do what you need to do, and I mean, she was at the one point I needed ice. For some reason, I needed a ton of ice. And so my husband went to ask her for ice. And I mean, she was having her food. It was like early hours of the morning. She left everything immediately to go get me ice, bring it to me to make sure that I'm okay. I mean, she was rubbing my back. She was, she was doing everything. And I'm telling you, I could not have asked for anything better, because she was so supportive. She was so helpful. I mean, even after I got into the tub and it was time to push, she was telling me how to. She was giving me tips and giving me advice, and she was really calm, and she wasn't making me nervous at all. She wasn't getting upset with me either. And she was telling me what was happening the whole time, especially when I started to push Aiden out. She started to tell me, okay, this is happening, here's the head, here's the forehead, all of these kind of things. And also when he came out, his cord was around his neck, and super quickly, she sorted that out, and she put him on my back, and it was absolutely amazing. I did have some complications though with my placenta. It didn't detach, so they had to work with me for quite a while to get it to detach. But even after that, she was there to help my baby to latch, to help me with what I needed to do. There was another midwife, her helper or assistant midwife that came in to me. She was also super helpful. I mean, they helped me to the bathroom. They helped me out of the bath, into the bath. I could say it was almost like if my mom was there, they did things for me that my own mom would do for me. And that makes me very emotional, because I've had horrible experiences with my past 2 miscarriages being in hospital. Horrible experience. The first one was the terrible one. And the second one, obviously it was horrible, but the experience was much better because I was in a proper hospital. But this whole experience of giving birth was totally different. And also they have the lady who prepares your food. She comes in and she tells you what's on the menu, what are the choices, you choose what you want, and they bring your food to you and things like that. It is super, super amazing. And the other thing that I really liked about Genesis is that when I was in labor, I was allowed to eat until I felt comfortable. So when I did get admitted, Sister Kate did ask me. She was like, have you had something to eat? And I said that I did, and I also had brought snacks and things like that to eat during my labor, because I felt like if I'm hungry, I need to be able to eat, and I was allowed to do that. I was allowed to drink and things like that. And I was also allowed to play music and walk around my room, and it was just super amazing. If I could give birth to my son over and over again just to be there, I absolutely would. And I also go and see my pediatrician at Genesis, and every time we drive up and we take that turn and it says Genesis Maternity Clinic, I already start to get emotional, because it is one of the most amazing memories that I will ever have. And having a positive birth experience was really, really important to me. And that I could choose what I want, and I could decide how I wanted things to be. And I knew that I had somebody there to support me, which was my midwife, and guide me if I needed to. But I didn't want somebody who was going to bark orders at me, get upset with me, and make me feel nervous or scared, because it's already a scary thing. The pain is something that you can never prepare for. It's something that you could never expect, because you don't know how your body would react. And on top of that, you don't need somebody rushing you and pushing you and and making you do things that you are not comfortable with. But what I can say is that the service there at Genesis is super amazing. They made me feel super comfortable and loved, and they made it a safe environment for me to be able to bring my son into this world. And when he was born, they helped us to do everything. They also provided a baby bag, which I'm going to insert a clip over here so that you can see all of the things that was in the baby bag. They also help you to show you how to swaddle, or if you have any questions. And I know that there was one point in the night that Aiden was crying so much, and we didn't know what to do. And Vaughn came in and she helped us, to get him to sleep, and that help was so welcomed, because I lost so much of blood that I actually had to have a blood transfusion. So the first 2 days was practically a blur. My husband did everything for Aiden, and I basically just slept there, and the midwives would come and attach him for me to feed him. And then I was sleeping most of the time, but they just helped with absolutely everything, and I can't stop telling everybody about what an amazing place it is to go and be a part of something like that, because I have a lot of friends who shared their birth experiences with me before I gave birth, and some of the things that they told me was very scary. But I can honestly say that when it comes to Genesis, I will go there any day. Any day I would be there. But yeah, so I don't want to make this a super long video. I just wanted to give you more or less a brief insight of what it was like to give birth there. If there are any other things that you'd like me to talk about, or any questions that you guys may have, please feel free to leave a comment below, and if there are enough things that I didn't cover, I will make another video and be more in depth. I just don't want this one to be too long and too tedious for you guys, because like I said, I can go on and on and on singing the praise of this place. But yes, like I said, just keep an eye on my channel for my new video on the cost of giving birth, where I'll discuss what it cost me, not just at Genesis, but also all the other additional things that I did during my pregnancy. So yes, if you liked this video, guys, and you found it helpful and you enjoyed it, please consider pressing the subscribe button and the notification bell, so that you can be part of my future videos. And take care, guys. All the best.